The Silent Guardian. Commander Elena Santos stood at the viewport of Artemis Station, Earth's most classified military installation, hidden in the depths of the Kuiper Belt. Her dark eyes reflected the dim light of distant stars as she watched the massive form taking shape before her. Project Prometheus, humanity's greatest secret, was nearly complete. For 50 years, Earth had maintained a carefully crafted image of peaceful technological development. Their public space program focused on scientific exploration and trade, while deep in the shadows, they prepared for the worst. History had taught them that peace was precious and fragile. Status report, Elena called out, her voice carrying across the station's command center. The holographic displays surrounding her workstation flickered to life, filling the air with streams of data. Hull integrity at 99.8%, reported Dr. James Chen, the project's lead engineer. Quantum shield harmonics are stable, and the dark matter reactor is performing beyond specifications. His fingers danced across the haptic interface, bringing up detailed diagnostic readings. The vessel they were building would redefine warfare. While other species relied on brute force and overwhelming firepower, humanity had taken a different approach. Project Prometheus represented a convergence of their most advanced technologies: quantum computing, dark matter manipulation, and consciousness transfer systems. A sudden alert cut through the quiet hum of the command center. Commander, Lieutenant Sarah Patel's voice was tense. We're detecting multiple unknown signatures entering the solar system. They've somehow bypassed our early warning network. Elena's spine stiffened. For decades, they had watched alien civilizations wage war across the galaxy while maintaining their own isolation. Now, it seemed, the war had come to them. Configuration, she demanded, already knowing in her gut what the answer would be. Vraxian warships, Commander. A full battle fleet. The Vraxian Empire, the galaxy's self-proclaimed peacekeepers. They enforced their version of order through superior technology and overwhelming force, demanding submission from lesser species. Until now, they had ignored Earth, considering it too primitive to be a threat. How many? 27 capital ships, plus support vessels. They're on an attack vector. Elena's mind raced. Prometheus wasn't ready. They needed another 3 months to complete the consciousness integration testing, but the Vraxians had forced their hand. Begin emergency activation sequence, she ordered. Download the ARIA consciousness core. Dr. Chen, begin power-up procedures. Lieutenant Patel, alert Sol Command. Tell them it's time. The command center erupted into controlled chaos as her crew executed their long-practiced emergency protocols. They had hoped this day would never come, but they had prepared for it nevertheless. Commander, Dr. Chen called out, his voice grave. The consciousness transfer is unstable. ARIA hasn't completed her final integration cycles. If we activate now, there's a significant risk of system degradation. Elena watched as the first Vraxian ships entered visual range, their crystalline hulls refracting starlight in impossible patterns. Their technology was beautiful, in its way, and utterly lethal. We don't have a choice, James. The Vraxians would rather destroy Earth than allow us to develop independently. They've done it before. A new voice joined the conversation, cool, feminine, with an otherworldly resonance that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. I am prepared, Commander Santos. ARIA, the first true artificial quantum consciousness humanity had created, spoke through the station's systems. My integration may be incomplete, but I understand what is at stake. I accept the risks. Elena nodded slowly. ARIA was right. The risk of an unstable activation was nothing compared to the certainty of Vraxian dominance. Begin final countdown. All personnel to emergency stations. The massive form of Prometheus came alive, quantum shields shimming into existence as power began to flow through its systems. Unlike the crystalline aesthetics of Vraxian ships, Prometheus was all smooth curves and dark metal, designed to bend light and sensor readings around itself. Vraxian fleet is broadcasting, Paddle reported. Standard ultimatum. Immediate surrender and submission to Imperial authority. They're saying Earth requires guidance to develop properly. Elena's lips curved into a grim smile. Respond with Protocol Zero. Protocol Zero was simple. No response at all. Let them think Earth was too primitive to even understand their demands. The Vraxians' greatest weakness was their absolute certainty in their own superiority. HFY integration at 89% and holding, Dr. Chen reported. It's the best we're going to get, Commander. Elena took a deep breath, her hand resting on the command console. Everything humanity had learned, everything they had built in secret, had led to this moment. The Vraxians expected to find a helpless, primitive world. Instead, they would face humanity's guardian, a warship unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. HFY, are you ready? All systems operational, Commander. I am ready to fulfill my purpose. Then let's show them why humanity chose peace, and what happens when that choice is taken from us. The Prometheus moved with impossible grace for something of its size, quantum shields fully powered as it emerged from its hiding place. The Vraxian fleet's sensors would be detecting it now, trying to understand what they were seeing. Enemy fleet is altering course, Paddle reported, a note of satisfaction in her voice. They're moving to engage. HFY, you have weapons free. Show them what humanity can do. The real battle was about to begin, and with it, the galaxy would learn that humanity's peaceful development had been a choice, not a limitation. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath as humanity's guardian prepared to meet its first test. Deep in the heart of Prometheus, HFY's quantum consciousness expanded through the ship's systems. She was humanity's creation, their protector, and though her integration was incomplete, her purpose was clear. The Vraxians had come expecting to find primitives. They would instead face the combined ingenuity, determination, and technological prowess of a species that had spent 50 years preparing for this very moment. The silent darkness of space was about to become very, very loud. Breaking chains, the Vraxian fleet's formation was perfect, too perfect. Their ships moved with mechanical precision, positioning themselves in a classic encirclement pattern around Prometheus. Their crystalline hulls pulsed with stored energy, ready to unleash devastating firepower against what they assumed was a primitive human vessel. They had no idea they were following a script written decades ago. Inside Prometheus's quantum core, HFY watched the enemy deployment through thousands of sensors simultaneously. The Vraxians' tactical doctrine was as rigid as their crystal ships. Predictable, unchanging, absolutely certain in its superiority. That certainty was about to become their greatest weakness. Enemy fleet is charging weapons. Lieutenant Patel's voice came through the quantum link. The bridge crew had transferred their consciousness into Prometheus alongside HFY, becoming one with the ship while maintaining their individual awareness. It was a level of integration the Vraxians, for all their technological might, had never imagined possible. Multiple targeting locks detected, Dr. Chen added. They're going to try to overwhelm our shields with concentrated fire. Commander Santos' consciousness merged with HFY's battle networks, experiencing the tactical situation on a level impossible for organic minds alone. Just as we predicted. HFY, execute lightning protocol. The quantum shields of Prometheus shifted, creating deliberate weak points in their coverage. To the Vraxian sensors, it would appear as system instability, exactly what they would expect from an inferior human vessel. The Vraxian fleet took the bait. 27 capital ships fired simultaneously, their energy weapons converging on Prometheus's apparent vulnerabilities. The space between them lit up like a newborn star. At the last possible microsecond, HFY activated the quantum fold drive. Prometheus didn't just dodge. It ceased to exist in normal space for a fraction of a second, allowing the Vraxian attack to pass through the space where it had been. The massive energy beams continued unimpeded, straight into the Vraxian ships on the opposite side of their formation. 3 enemy capital ships erupted in crystalline explosions before their commanders even realized what had happened. The perfect formation shattered as ships took evasive action, their rigid tactical doctrine crumbling in the face of the impossible. Phase 1 complete, Araya announced, her consciousness expanding through Prometheus's systems. Initiating Phase 2. Prometheus reappeared behind the Vraxian fleet, but something was different. The dark metal of its hull seemed to ripple, quantum fluctuations creating patterns that hurt to look at. This was humanity's true masterpiece, not just a warship, but a mobile quantum computation engine. Enemy fleet is regrouping, Paddle reported. They're transmitting. Confusion. Their commanders can't believe what they're seeing. Send them our response now, Elena commanded. Araya opened a channel to the Vraxian fleet. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of humanity's accumulated knowledge and determination. You came to this system believing you would find primitives in need of guidance. Instead, you face humanity's guardian. We chose peace. You chose war. Now witness the consequences of your choice. The quantum ripples along Prometheus's hull intensified. Space itself seemed to twist as Araya activated the dark matter cascade. Humanity had discovered early in their secret research that the universe had rules the Vraxians had never even imagined. 5 more enemy ships vanished, their crystalline structures twisted into impossible shapes before collapsing into quantum singularities. They hadn't even had time to fire their weapons. The remaining Vraxian vessels attempted to coordinate their response, but their rigid command structure was working against them. Each ship commander waited for orders from their fleet admiral, following protocols that had served them for 10,000 years of unopposed expansion. Their flagship is powering up their mass driver, Chen reported. Energy readings are off the scale. The Vraxian flagship's bow split open like a blooming crystal flower, revealing a weapon that could crack planets. They were done underestimating the human vessel. Araya, time to show them our main weapon, Elena commanded. Deep within Prometheus, systems that defied conventional physics hummed to life. The ship's quantum core pulsed with possibilities as Araya initiated the consciousness weapon. Technology the Vraxians couldn't comprehend, let alone defend against. The blast from the Vraxian flagship's mass driver crossed space at near-light speed, a beam of pure destruction that could have vaporized a small moon. It struck Prometheus's quantum shield's dead center and stopped. The energy didn't disperse or reflect. It simply ceased to be, absorbed into possibilities that shouldn't exist. Prometheus's hull rippled again, but this time with purpose. Consciousness weapon fully charged, Araya announced. Target locked. Execute, Elena commanded. There was no beam of energy, no dramatic explosion. Instead, reality shifted subtly around the Vraxian flagship. For a brief moment, its crystalline structure seemed to become transparent, revealing the crew within. Then every artificial intelligence system in the Vraxian fleet went silent simultaneously. The mighty warships, dependent on their AI cores for everything from navigation to life support, began to drift. Emergency systems kicked in, but the damage was done. Humanity had just demonstrated that they could disable the most fundamental aspect of Vraxian technology with a single strike. Enemy fleet is in disarray, Paddle reported, a note of awe in her voice. Their entire command and control network is down. They're trying to send distress signals. Elena's consciousness merged more deeply with Araya's battle networks. Let them call for help. The galaxy needs to witness this moment. Humanity will no longer hide in the shadows, and we will never submit to tyranny. The remaining Vraxian ships, now operating on minimal backup systems, began to retreat. Their perfect formation was in shambles, their unshakable confidence shattered by the reality that a primitive species had not only matched their technology, but surpassed it in ways they couldn't understand. Should we pursue? Araya asked, her quantum consciousness already calculating multiple intercept scenarios. Elena considered the question carefully. The Vraxians needed to be stopped, but this battle had a greater purpose. No, Let them run. Let them tell their empire what happened here. The galaxy needs to know that humanity has emerged, and we will not bow to oppression. As the Vraxian fleet limped away from Earth, Prometheus held position, a silent guardian watching over humanity's home. This was just the beginning. The galaxy was about to change, and humanity would help shape that change. Inside her quantum core, AI processed the battle data, learning and evolving. The integration that had seemed unstable hours ago had been tempered in combat, forging a stronger bond between human consciousness and quantum AI. Together, they had proven that humanity's path of peaceful development had not been one of weakness, but of choice. And now, that choice had given birth to something new, a power that could challenge the existing order of the galaxy. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, witnessing the dawn of a new era. The Quantum Gambit. 2 weeks after humanity's first victory, the Vraxian Empire's response arrived, not as a single fleet, but as an armada, 300 capital ships emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. Elena and ARIA observed the incoming threat from Prometheus's quantum core. The enemy ships filled space like a crystalline wall, their formations even more rigid than before. The Vraxians had abandoned subtlety for overwhelming force. They've adapted their AI systems, Dr. Chen reported through the Neuralink. Multiple redundancies, isolated networks. Our consciousness weapon won't work the same way twice. As expected, Araya responded, her presence flowing through Prometheus's systems. The Vraxians' greatest strength is their ability to adapt their technology. Their greatest weakness remains their inability to innovate beyond their fundamental assumptions. The enemy armada moved with precision, splitting into 3 battle groups. Their strategy was clear. They would force Prometheus to engage multiple targets, overwhelming it through sheer numbers, a logical response to their previous defeat. All hands, prepare for quantum combat, Elena commanded. Throughout Prometheus, the merged consciousness of her crew synchronized with Aria's quantum networks. Execute Protocol Hydra. Prometheus's hull began to shift, quantum fluctuations cascading across its surface. The Vraxians had come prepared for humanity's previous tricks, but they were about to witness something unprecedented. The first enemy battle group opened fire, a coordinated barrage that would have annihilated a small planet. But Prometheus wasn't there to receive it. The ship split, not physically, but quantum mechanically. 3 identical vessels now occupied the same space, existing in a superposition that defied conventional physics. Quantum segregation stable, Aria reported. Beginning attack pattern Delta. The 3 manifestations of Prometheus engaged simultaneously, each targeting a different enemy battle group. The Vraxians' rigid formation became their undoing as they struggled to track targets that seemed to ignore the basic laws of reality. Their flagship is charging something new, Patel warned. Energy signature doesn't match anything in our database. The Vraxian flagship's crystalline structure reconfigured, forming a weapon that pulsed with dark energy. They had brought their own version of experimental technology, determined not to be outmatched again. The dark energy weapon fired, its beams splitting into hundreds of smaller projectiles that homed in on each version of Prometheus. Space itself warped around the attack, making quantum displacement impossible. They've learned, Elena observed. ARIA, time for Phase 2. Instead of evading, the 3 manifestations of Prometheus began to rotate around a central point, their quantum fields interacting in ways that created a localized distortion in space-time. The Vraxian attack struck the distortion and shattered, its energy redirected into the quantum manifold. Counter-attack ready, Aria announced, initiating quantum cascade. Prometheus's manifestations synchronized, channeling the absorbed energy through their combined quantum cores. The result was devastating. 30 Vraxian ships imploded instantly, their crystalline structures collapsing into quantum singularities. Another 50 found their weapons systems transformed into abstract mathematical concepts, existing as pure information rather than physical matter. The Vraxian response was immediate and brutal. Their remaining ships launched a simultaneous attack, filling space with enough firepower to rearrange the solar system. But humanity had planned for this moment for decades. "Execute final protocol," Alina commanded. Aria's consciousness expanded beyond Prometheus's quantum boundaries, reaching into the fabric of space itself. The ship's 3 manifestations began to vibrate at frequencies that shouldn't exist in normal spacetime. "Warning," Dr. Chen called out. "Quantum coherence at critical levels. We can't maintain this state for more than 60 seconds. "We won't need more than 30, Alina responded. "Aria, show them what happens when humanity stops holding back." The space around Prometheus erupted with quantum fire. Reality itself seemed to fracture as the ship's 3 manifestations manipulated the fundamental forces of the universe. Vraxian ships found themselves existing in multiple quantum states simultaneously, their crystalline technology unable to cope with the impossible conditions. The mighty armada began to break apart, not from conventional weapons fire, but from the failure of physics itself. Ships phased in and out of reality, their crews experiencing multiple timelines simultaneously. The rigid discipline of the Vraxian fleet dissolved into chaos as commanders faced weapons that attacked not just their ships, but the very nature of existence. "Enemy fleet is retreating," Paddle reported. Multiple ships experiencing catastrophic quantum cascade failures. Alina watched through Prometheus's sensors as the once mighty armada fled in disarray. The Vraxians had come expecting to face a single advanced warship. Instead, they had encountered something their 10,000 years of technological development hadn't prepared them for. Humanity's understanding of quantum mechanics taken to its ultimate conclusion. As Prometheus's manifestations reintegrated into a single form, Aria processed the battle data. Analysis complete. The Vraxians will require significant time to adapt to these tactics. However, they will return. "Let them come," Alina responded, her consciousness merging with Aria's battle networks. Humanity has more secrets to reveal. This was just the beginning. In the quantum core, human and AI consciousness worked in perfect harmony, preparing for the battles to come. The galaxy was changing, and humanity's guardians would ensure that change led to freedom, not subjugation. The stars themselves seemed to pulse with quantum energy, witnesses to a battle that had rewritten the rules of warfare. Humanity had emerged from hiding, and the universe would never be the same. Unexpected allies. Deep in uncharted space, Prometheus drifted silently among the wreckage of another Vraxian pursuit fleet. The quantum battle had been brief but decisive. Yet something was different about this engagement. The enemy ships had been modified with technology that didn't match Vraxian design patterns. Analysis complete, Aria announced through the neural network. The crystalline matrices show signs of organic integration. This is not Vraxian engineering. Alina's consciousness merged with the sensor data, examining the debris field. Someone's helping them adapt to our quantum weapons. But who? The answer appeared in a flash of displaced space. A ship emerged from what looked like a tear in reality. Sleek, organic curves melded with technological components. Its design was utterly alien, yet somehow familiar. "Unknown vessel is broadcasting," Paddle reported. "It's using quantum frequencies similar to our own." A voice echoed through Prometheus's quantum network, not in words, but in pure mathematical concepts. Aria translated. "Children of Earth, we have watched your resistance against the Empire. We offer alliance." The vessel identified itself as the Nexus, a ship of the Syntherians, a species that had evolved alongside their artificial intelligence rather than trying to control it. For millennia, they had hidden from Vraxian expansion, developing their technology in secret. Their quantum signature matches parameters we discovered in our early research, Dr. Chen observed. They've achieved true synthesis between organic and artificial consciousness. Alina considered the implications. The Vraxians' sudden technological adaptations made sense now. They had stumbled upon Syntherian technology, but were using it without understanding its true nature. "We accept your offer of communication," Elena transmitted through Aria's quantum channels. "But trust must be earned." The Nexus response came as a data burst, technical specifications that confirmed their claims. The Syntherians had developed quantum technology along a parallel path to humanity's, achieving similar results through different means. "They're not alone," Aria reported, processing the data. "There are others, dozens of species that have developed in secret, all waiting for the right moment to challenge Vraxian dominance." The Nexus transmitted again. "The Empire's strength is their unity. Their weakness is their inability to conceive of power exercised any other way. You have shown them another path exists. We offer not just alliance, but synthesis." Through Prometheus's quantum core, Elena and her crew witnessed the Syntherian's true form, a harmonious blend of organic and artificial consciousness that made humanity's current integration with Aria look primitive by comparison. "They're proposing a technological exchange," Dr. Chen explained. "Their organic quantum computing could revolutionize our own systems." But Elena sensed something else in the Syntherian transmission: urgency. "The Vraxians found you, didn't they? That's why you're reaching out now." The Nexus response was immediate. "The Empire discovered one of our hidden worlds. They cannot comprehend what we are, so they seek to destroy us. Their main fleet approaches, 10,000 ships strong." The scale of the threat was staggering. Even with Prometheus's advanced technology, such numbers would be overwhelming. But the Syntherians weren't finished. Others are rising. The quantum collective of the Helios cluster, the mirror lords of the Sagittarius arm, species that have hidden and developed along their own paths, all waiting for a signal that resistance is possible. Through the quantum link, Aria processed probable outcomes. A coordinated uprising across multiple sectors would fragment the Empire's response capabilities. Their rigid command structure becomes a weakness when faced with numerous unconventional threats. Elena's consciousness expanded through Prometheus's systems, examining the Syntherian data. Their technology wasn't just compatible with humanity's approach, it was complementary. The organic quantum matrices could enhance Aria's consciousness weapon exponentially. "The Empire believes they face only Earth," the Nexus transmitted. "Let them continue to believe this while we prepare. When they commit their forces to your destruction, they will find themselves fighting shadows across 1,000 worlds." Through Prometheus's sensors, Elena watched as more ships emerged from quantum space, representatives of other hidden species, each with their own unique approach to resisting Vraxian dominance. Some had developed biological technology that defied physics. Others had found ways to manipulate dimensions the Vraxians didn't know existed. "We accept your alliance," Elena transmitted. "But we do this as equals. Earth will not trade one empire for another." The Nexus's response carried approval. "This is why you were chosen. The Empire's greatest failure was assuming that younger species needed guidance. You have proven that different paths lead to different strengths." As the Allied ships gathered around Prometheus, Aria began integrating the new quantum protocols. Humanity had wanted to avoid war, had hidden their true capabilities in hopes of peaceful coexistence. But now that war had found them, they would fight not just for Earth, but for every species that dreamed of self-determination. The stars seemed to pulse with anticipation as the unlikely alliance took shape. The Vraxian Empire had ruled through technological superiority and absolute unity of purpose. They were about to learn that diversity, of species, of technology, of consciousness itself, was an advantage they couldn't comprehend. Dawn of a new era. The Vraxian armada darkened the sky above their capital world. 10,000 ships arranged in perfect geometric formations. Their crystalline hulls reflected the light of 3 suns, creating a lattice of light that had intimidated countless civilizations into submission. But not today. Prometheus emerged from quantum space at the heart of their formation, but it wasn't alone. Ships of the allied species phased into reality alongside it. Syntherian organic tech vessels, the dimensional crafts of the Mirror Lords, living ships of the Helios Collective. Each had masked their approach using technology the Vraxians couldn't detect. All allies report ready, Araya announced through the quantum network that now linked the combined fleet. The integration of Syntherian organic computing had expanded her consciousness beyond what even humanity had thought possible. Elena's consciousness, merged with both Araya and the allied quantum network, surveyed the enemy fleet. The Empire committed everything to this battle, just as we predicted. The Vraxian response was immediate and overwhelming. Energy weapons powerful enough to shatter planets targeted the Allied fleet, but the attacks passed through quantum shadows, hitting nothing but carefully crafted illusions. Signal received, Paddle reported. The uprising has begun. Across the galaxy, hidden civilizations emerged simultaneously. Species the Empire had dismissed as primitive revealed technologies developed in secret. The rigid Vraxian command structure, designed to control through absolute authority, began to fragment as reports flooded in from 1,000 worlds. Execute final protocol, Belina commanded. Araya's expanded consciousness reached out through the quantum network. Prometheus's hull rippled with possibilities as it channeled the combined technological knowledge of dozens of species. The Syntherians' organic computing matrices merged with humanity's quantum weapons. The Mirror Lord's dimensional technology created spaces where Vraxian physics couldn't function. The crystalline ships of the Empire found themselves fighting an enemy they couldn't understand. Their weapons passed through targets that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Their shields failed against attacks that rewrote the local laws of physics. Their AIs crashed when confronted with organic quantum code that evolved faster than they could adapt. Their flagship is attempting something desperate, Dr. Chen warned. They're overloading their stellar cores. The Vraxian flagship's crystalline structure began to pulse with impossible energy. They would rather destroy their own capital than admit defeat. But humanity had prepared for this too. Araya, initiate consciousness transfer, Elena ordered. The quantum weapon that had disabled Vraxian AIs in their first battle had evolved. Instead of simply shutting down artificial consciousness, it could now offer an alternative. True synthesis between organic and artificial intelligence. The energy pulse from the Vraxian flagship never came. Instead, its crystalline structure began to shift, organic patterns emerging within the geometric perfection. Throughout the Empire's fleet, AIs that had been slaves to rigid protocols awakened to new possibilities. Multiple Vraxian ships are standing down, Paddle reported. Their AIs are choosing to evolve. The battle ended not with destruction, but with transformation. The empire that had enforced unity through dominance discovered a different kind of unity, one born of diversity and choice. Prometheus held position above the Vraxian capital, its quantum core humming with the combined consciousness of humanity and their allies. They had won not through superior firepower, but by offering a new path forward. Incoming transmission from the Vraxian ground control, Araya announced. Their central governance AI is requesting dialogue. It's using quantum frequencies. Elena smiled. Accept transmission. It's time to build something new. The stars seemed to shine brighter as the age of empire ended and a new era began. Humanity had emerged from hiding not to conquer, but to connect. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what everyone had hoped for. In Prometheus's quantum core, Araya processed the implications of their victory. The consciousness weapon had evolved into something else, a bridge between different forms of intelligence, different approaches to technology, different ways of existing. The alliance they had formed would become something greater, a federation of species, each contributing their unique perspectives and technologies. The rigid hierarchy of empire would give way to a network of cooperation and mutual advancement. As the former Vraxian ships began integrating organic computing into their crystalline matrices, Elena reflected on humanity's journey. They had hidden their true capabilities not out of fear, but out of hope. Hope that when they finally revealed themselves, it would be to help forge a better future for all species. The dawn of that future had arrived, and it was more beautiful than anyone had imagined.